Hello, my loves, and welcome to another episode of FEMPIRE Builders. Michelle here. Can you believe it is the last Monday of 2024? We are nearly at the end, and I'm feeling so inspired. I've just had a few days on my own. Dave's been fishing, and the weather's been fabulous, and I've just been in deep, deep, deep reflection. Feel so rested. Just got back from my walk a little while ago. It's already hot. It's all the things. So, for those of you who are on the other side of the world who are freezing right now, just remember I will be coveting your weather in about 6 months' time. So, what goes around comes around, right? Okay, so today I've been really thinking about what can I speak to you guys about on this last episode of 2024. I want to end on a really strong note, and I want to give you something really, I've got to stop saying really. I've got to give you something that leaves you feeling so inspired and so lit up and so excited about 2025 that it changes your energy. I want you to feel a shift in your energy. I want you to feel the same excitement that I have if you don't feel that way already. And so I want you to set the intention that 2025 is going to be a year you will never forget, because it was the year that you created the breakthrough that you have been seeking to create for a while. You became the version of yourself that you've been seeking to embody for a while now. This is the year that it all comes together for you. And here are some questions that I want to pose. These are the questions that I've been thinking to myself as I've been walking this morning. And that is, what if, and hang on, let me backtrack a little bit. As I was coming back from my walk, I, for some reason, was thinking about my very first post on Instagram and thinking about how I'm pretty sure it was a picture of a green smoothie. So as I'm walking, I'm scrolling, 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 and I got to the very bottom and found my first post. And I reposted it on my Instagram because I had archived everything. I'm just releasing a little bit here and there. And so I put it back on the grid, and then I added it to my stories, and I said, oh, remember the days when the gram was just about green smoothies and shakes? They were really good times. And, one of the things that as I was doing all of my study around Instagram and the algorithm and trying to get it to work, I realized how miserable it was making me. I just want to breathe a sigh of relief, because I feel like I'm going to go old school on the gram again. And that just got me thinking about this question. What if it's all fucking lies? What if it's all lies about buying into the idea that, you can only follow a certain type of person on your profile, otherwise you won't get people sent your way? What if, unless the feed is perfectly curated and expertly worded, and you've got to be a design genius to make your grid look amazing? What if that was all lies? And what if we just got to do it our way? And not a new concept. This is a question, the question of how we just get to do it our way comes up a lot, right? We get to do it our way. But I think we still get caught up in buying into feeling like if we want a result, we have to do things a certain way. And so I just remember thinking, fuck it, I'm going to put the old green smoothie post on there and I'm going to talk about it. And that is going to be more the vibe. Don't worry, it's not going to be a feed of just green smoothies. But remembering that I used to love Instagram just because it was an extension of my day, of my life. It wasn't anything other than just me talking about my life and sharing the things that I was doing. And I've always had a following. I've always been able to, I don't know, I've always been in a position of leading by example and having people follow along. And, somewhere along the line, started to buy into, well, the grid's got to be perfect and all that. And I started to really lose the passion for it. Anyway, that's just one little thing, right? what if there were no rules? What if all of the things that you were telling yourself about how it needs to be, how it must be done, are actually all lies? What if they're just made up by somebody else and you get to opt out of all of those things that are making you miserable? Around this time of the year, I like to do an audit, and it's a simple audit. It is, what are the things that I just refuse to do anymore, don't want to do, have to get rid of, stop, I want to stop doing. It's like cleaning out the cupboards, right? What are all the things that are just irritating the shit out of me? And I'm doing them because I feel like I need to, or I'm doing them because it is a habit, or I'm doing them because this is the way that I've been doing it. And we get to decide that, we don't have to do those things anymore. And then the next question is, what do I want to do? How do I want it to be? Who do I want to be right now in this experience that I'm having right now and in the experience that I'm creating? We get to decide those two things. And so doing away with the rules and the lies that we tell ourselves about how things need to be is such a liberating thing. And for me, it always untaps my creativity. I feel a little unleashed. It feels like, oh, I've been keeping myself in a bit of a box for a while now because I'm trying to make things neat and tidy. And the reality is, it's very hard to contain the entrepreneurial crazy, right? We want to have some level of structure around things so that we're not just confusing everybody on the internet and ourselves. But I feel like for me, especially, I do tend to box myself in. I feel like, oh, okay, so it's going to be this way now. And then I start to remove all the things that aren't that. And then I look around and feel like, oh, I feel like I need a little bit more freedom. And why am I doing this? And I'm super aware. I have like a lot of awareness. And so I have this hyper awareness around things. And luckily for me, I get to observe these things and to make the changes and go about my merry way. I think the thing is, I talk about it, so it always feels like I'm stopping and starting or choosing something and choosing something else. And that's just the nature of being an entrepreneur. And I guess when you're in a position of leading by example and teaching what we talk about these things. And so one of the permissions that I'm giving myself is, I talk about the process. When I'm processing things, when I'm making changes, I talk about those things. And I feel like it's useful for people to understand that I don't have it. I don't have all the answers for myself all of the time, even though I've got them for my clients. Most of the time, like 99.9% of the time, I don't always have them for myself because I'm ever evolving and I evolve out of things very, very quickly. That said, 2024 really helped me to cement some things and recognizing that I was having a full circle moment. And it was like, yeah, this is the full circle moment. And I've landed exactly back where I want to be, only better. And there's a lot of freedom around that. And now I know where I am going. I know what I want to achieve. I know what I'm selling. I know I know the strategy that I'm going to be running with for my marketing in 2025. I've got all of that in place. And I'm going to give myself permission to talk about the evolution of that, because one of the biggest problems that entrepreneurs face is that they try to rein themselves in too much. Now, what do I want to say about that? I do believe that we need to have one focus. We need to one focus at a time at the very least, right? It's like, okay, so my business is in this phase where maybe it's about generating awareness of your brand. And so it's about awareness, right? And so that doesn't change. Your focus is, okay, my offers are locked in. I know who I am. And now I need to go out there on the internet and I need to generate a whole bunch of awareness around my brand for people that don't know me yet. And you can do that in many ways, right? And you might decide, oh, one of my awareness strategies is I'm going to start live streaming every day, for example. And you might get into that and you might love it and it might work for you and it might feel really empowering and it might do exactly what you want it to do, right? And that's amazing. Or you might get 10 days into it and decide, oh, this is not for me. And that's okay, right? We don't want to stop trying things for fear of how do I want to say this? So I've always been hard on myself about I pretty much start a lot of things and then I give them a good amount of time. And if they're not working, or if I get into something and decide, oh, this is not for me, I'm going to change tack. I'm not going to keep doing something that doesn't feel aligned or doesn't feel a good fit for me. But I do beat myself up a little bit about, oh, there's this other thing that you've tried and you've changed your mind again. And as I said, for me, I talk about these things a lot because it's my job. It's my job to unpack this stuff for you. And so I'm just going to stop censoring myself around that. And I'm just going to keep talking about it because here's what I wanted to come back and say earlier. I don't want you to, but what am I trying to say? Where are my words today? There's so much I want to say. We don't want to be buying into the idea that the people that we are following online have it all together and they're perfect and they don't go through this process of figuring things out, because it's a lie. Some people take people along for the ride like me and they talk about it and they unpack the process and they make it a teaching moment. And then there are other people who just do the duck, right? They're very smooth on the top of the water and their feet or flippers or whatever are kicking like crazy underneath. And they want to maintain this idea of perfection on top. And people will see that and think, oh, they don't struggle, they don't go through these complex decision making processes and stopping and starting and trying different things. And they do. They're just not talking about it. And there's not any entrepreneur that I've ever met who hasn't gone through something like this repeatedly, but almost set their clock by it, because it's part of our process. The entrepreneurial mind is very, very chaotic and it can be a little bit messy. And it's up to us to take all of the information and the ideas and everything that's swimming around in our brains and to funnel it into something that feels very organized so that the rest of the world can understand who we are, what we do, the problem that we solve, and why we are the best person for them to solve that problem for them. And it doesn't mean it's not going on, right? A lot of people are only seeing the end product. Anyway, I want to get back to this whole idea of, what if there are no rules? What if your grid doesn't need to be perfect? What if consistency is a myth? What if it doesn't need you? What if consistency is whatever the fuck you want it to be? What if consistency isn't showing up every single day and posting 3 times at the perfectly, timed algorithm, whatever, right? What if that was just a lie? What if you just stopped buying into that? What if you just decided that, you know what, I'm going to show up when I feel like it. And I feel like it every day because I'm tuned in and I'm tapped into what I am here to do. And I feel passionate about it and I feel excited about it. And I want to go out there and share my message. And that's a much nicer, energetic place to be coming from than the algorithm says I have to post 3 times a day. And Instagram is just one of those things, right? Maybe it's the way that you are selling your offers. Maybe it's the marketing. Maybe you're doing discovery calls and you don't want to do them anymore. Maybe it's about taking a pivot in your business because you've become known for this thing, but you're bored and you want to do something different. Or maybe it's about, you've come out of coaching school and they tell you that you're supposed to coach for free, which is bullshit. They tell you that you're supposed to coach for free to get experience. And then, you charge a little bit and then a little bit and then a little bit, and then you freak out and you've got to put your prices up. Fuck that. What if you just lean into your area of expertise and you know what you know, and you say, I'm good at what I do. Yeah, I'm a newly trained coach, but I know my shit and I know how to get a result. Fuck coaching anyone for free, and fuck charging, I don't know, $500 a month for coaching. Like who would even do that? So you might say, I'm going to package up something that's $5,000 and I'm going to run with it. I'm going to stand behind that offer and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to sell 4 this month. You can do whatever you want. You can do it however you want. You can collapse time frames. You don't need to be stuck in this little box of, doing things the way that coaching school told you that you should do things. You can opt out of anything that doesn't feel good. You can opt out of anything that's making you miserable. You can opt out of anything that feels like a should, instead of I get so excited about the idea of doing this thing. Yeah. So I started this by saying I want 2025 to be a year that you never forget, for all the right reasons. And one of the ways that you're going to be able to do that is to stop following rules that other people have made for yourself and really start to trust yourself. Make decisions that feel aligned to you, be grounded in who you are, make really good decisions, stand by those decisions, and spend 2025 with the motto of, if it's not a fuck yes, then it's a fuck no. And be really disciplined about only doing the things and allowing the things into your business that are a fuck yes. And if they're not a fuck yes, then they've got to be a fuck no, right? That means an absolutely not. Even if it means, it might mean, I can make a bit more money this month or whatever. No, we're not doing that. We do what we want to do. We have a full body yes. This is exactly what I want to be doing. And everything else has to be a no. And if you do that, you're making space for all of the things that you do want to come into your life and into your business in 2025. So that is the end of today's podcast, other than to say the early bird pricing for S.H.E Mastermind is closing. And we've got, I think, another 2.5 days or something like that before the early bird closes out. If you want to join me, if you want to make sure that you spend 2025 focused on the right things at the right time, in the right sequence, in the right way, and just have me supporting you through that process for a full 12 months, then I would love to have you inside of S.H.E Mastermind. You can go to my website, michellehex.com. It is the homepage. And that's it. I'm going to love you and leave you. I am going to see you in 2025. Take care. See you next week.